Hey there my fellow preheated refrigerators. Today we're taking a look at the Peacekeeper, which is a mace for the summoner. This absolute beast of an item will be dropping from the Forgotten King in Shatters 2.0. Now that fight looks hard as hell. Before we continue, I'd like to show you guys a comment of the day, and today we have 𝐿𝐻𝐿. Hey, give me some loot. No, the item sprite is amazing, so simple yet so fitting for the final boss. A crown on a stick. Oh, by the way, this is the boss's dying animation. How cool does it look? Alrighty, so what does a Peacekeeper do? Yep, it summons a whole ass army. We have the hunched archer over here, this cute little raider, and this massive knight. The ability costs 135 mana, and rightfully so, as with just one press, you summon 3 guys and they last a whopping 12 seconds. If you want 100% uptime with these guys, you only need to regenerate 11.25 mana per second. If I'm not wrong, you get 75 wisdom on the summoner, which is about 4.5 mana per second while in combat, and outside combat you get 9 mana per second, or even more. Let's just be realistic and talk while we're in combat. Okay, there's actually too many numbers to go ahead with this, but really you can just go with the uncommon pet and your uptime for this weapon would be almost like permanent. I mean, if you have this item, you're probably fairly experienced at the game anyways. You probably have a huge divine pet backing you up, so what am I doing? Okay, but for real, even without a pet, by the time the ability is done with, all my mana is back while we're outside of combat. That's pretty crazy. The item itself gives 30 health and 5 dexterity as a passive bonus, which is... it's not bad. Now onto the actual summons. Each one has their own thing going on. First up we have the archer. He spawns on your cursor and stays in a spot like a turret. The archer shoots arrows which deal 500 to 600 damage each. These are pretty slow moving and he fires about 2 per second. That's about 12,000 to 14,400 damage over 12 seconds. Realistically speaking from experience though, he looks kinda stupid and yeah he is, as he misses pretty often. But still, when he manages to land his shots, it's pretty nice and he goes well on stationary targets or slower moving enemies. What about the raider? When you summon him, he circles around you and launches 5 armor piercing spears that do 100 to 150 damage each. Or shall I say 500 to 750 damage per shotgun. He does about 2 volleys per second, so that's about 6,000 to 9,000 damage if you land all the spears in 12 seconds. You will have to note though, getting that number is also not going to happen, as 1, you need to be close to the enemy, and 2, he needs to land all 5 of his spears. Finally we have the knight. This is a summon you can control, and will allow you to deal your damage reliably. At first he fires 2 parallel lines of slashes for 3 seconds at a slow fire rate, then after 6 seconds he gets aggressive and fires faster in a 3-shot spread, attacking about 5 times per second. The initial slashes are called slashes. They're slow and they do 100 to 250 damage for each projectile, so that's about 600 to 1500 damage per slash, and he does 8 of these in 6 seconds, aka 4800 to 12,000 damage in 6 seconds. Then he fires 30 rounds of 3 flurry shots which deal a total of 9,000 to 18,000 damage in 6 seconds. Given that the stars have aligned and you land all the shots on a 0 defense enemy, you can do 31,800 to 53,400 damage in 12 seconds. Which if you think about it, it's not as insane as you think. That's if you land all the shots of all 3 minions. So really, is it all that strong? The item is surely flashy as fuck, but with the numbers I put up given the optimal conditions, it's not as busted as it sounds. You won't be near the enemy enough or even have this guy on the enemy enough to make him land all the shots. The archer is stationary and fires slow arrows that miss often, and that just leaves you with the knight. He's pretty reliable when it comes to damage. The thing is, like all summons, you can only have 3 entities up at once, so no, you can't press spacebar 3 times and get 9 of these guys. The knight itself ends up doing from 13,800 damage up to 30,000 damage in his lifetime, which sounds like a lot, but remember, you can only have 1 of these guys up. Nonetheless, that's still pretty damn powerful. Having 3 minions from the strongest mace in the game, the incubation mace, is about 39,000 to 42,000 damage. but it also costs much more mana. From playing around with this weapon, I'd put it between the tier 7 mace and the incubation mace in terms of power. Its full damage potential is insane, but don't expect that to happen at all. I mean, overall, I'm having a lot of fun with this item. The knight is like shredding through gods. It's nice to have a little minion around you shooting those spears. It actually helps when rushing dungeons. It's a fun item overall. And so yeah, it does leave its mark as a true endgame item, and definitely one of the top picks for the summoner. The incubation mace overall has more reliable damage in a shorter period of time, whereas the Peacekeeper makes up for this by being the most mana efficient item of them all. And you have a lot of power packed in 135 mana. It's just not the craziest damage up front. Although 2 of the summons are handicapped, it's like having 2 summons up for 12 seconds at the cost of 135 mana. No matter what pet you have, as long as you aren't quieted, this powerful mace will always be around you. Like I said, I'm having an absolute blast with this item. It's super fun and creative, although I have one thing I want to mention to you guys. There are more untiered abilities for the summoner, who has been in the game for 1 year, than the damn sorcerer, which has been in the game for 10 years. Please do something about this. Hey there, did you enjoy my video? Well, here's 2 more of them. Check them out.